So in this Parsha, we learn about different law of damage, law of freedom, law of business, etc., etc. One of the things we learn is what happens if a slave wants to stay longer. You know, every 7 years, they're free to go. Now, don't forget that slaves back in time were actually people who need help to survive because they don't have food, they don't have a roof where to live. Other were just from the Canaan people from the city that they were non-Jewish and they needed help. Anyway, what happened if after 7 years the slave says, I don't want to go, I want to stay. I don't want to be free. I don't have where to go. I like my boss and I want to stay with my boss. So the law is that he can stay, but they make a hole here in his hair to remind him that he is a slave now forever because he doesn't want to leave his boss. So the question is, why the Torah actually is telling you to make a hole in this guy's slave, in his slave hair? And one of the answers is because everyone was at Mount Sinai when God gave the Torah. And when God gave the Torah, the main thing he says is, Anochi Hashem Elokech, I am you God. Lo yeh lecha elokim acherim, do not have other gods, which means I'm the boss. And don't need other bosses, because I'm the only one. And this guy, after 7 years, he wants to still have his own boss beside God. Because he's afraid of freedom. He's afraid to don't be able to make a living. In other words, he doesn't trust the real boss, God. And even though he listened to the Anochi Hashem Elokecha, he listened to the 10 Commandments, but it's not enough. He was afraid to be alone, to be in the street. Again, he doesn't trust God. He trusts his second boss. And therefore, they make a hole here to remind him how silly. Trust in God. Don't be afraid. Shabbat Shalom.